Hey guys, this is Saikat. Welcome to my channel Saikat's Tutorial. Today we will talk about modular design and lazy loading modules in Angular. Organizing your code into distinct functional modules helps in managing development of complex applications. This technique lets you take advantage of lazy loading, that is, loading of some modules on demand. In order to minimize the amount of code that needs to be loaded at startup time of your application, we must implement lazy loading of modules. In module-oriented approach, application modules are clearly visible in the file tree as separate directories or folders. Every module directory contains all files that includes your code, styles, templates, everything, even test cases. These are related to a specific module or a feature module. A very important element of this approach is isolation of modules. It means that every module is self-contained and does not refer to a file from a different module. You can delete one of them from your application and the rest of the application will work perfectly. In real scenario, it is not possible to follow this strict rule. At least some service or some component have to be reused across the whole application. For example, the user service. That service we might need to use in different modules to get the user data. Therefore, some parts of the application or functionality we can store into our core module or into our shared module. We are going to use three main modules in our application. AppModule. It is used for bootstrapping the module. It is responsible for launching the application and combining other modules together. CoreModule. Core functionalities, mostly global services or header, footer components that will be used in the whole application globally. It is for one-time use. They should not be imported by other application modules. Shared module. Usually a set of components or services or pipes that will be reused in other application modules but not applied globally. It is injected directly to the feature module. And all other remaining modules or feature modules should be isolated and independent. Such a structure not only allows for clear concern separation but is also a convenient starting point for implementing lazy loading functionality, which is another crucial step in preparing a scalable application architecture. Now, let me show you some hands-on example. We have one small application here where we have this header bar and a form. We are going to create a bookstore where we can add categories and then we can add few books by selecting such category. I have set up a bookstore application which is having this app component.html where this part is our navbar and this part is our body content. Now we need to move this navbar to our core module. It will be required by the application just for one time. So first let me create the core module. ng module core. So our core module has been created. Now we need to inject this core module into our app module. Now CoreModule has been injected in our AppModule. That means anything under this CoreModule will be available for the application. Now let me create header component. ng component or C, then core/components, then header. So it will create a components folder under CoreModule and a header component under components folder. Now our header component has been created and the component has been declared in ng module of CoreModule. Now in order to use this header component, we need to export it also. Exports header component. Now this header component is available to use in our app component. Now let's see what is there in header component. Header works. Now we will cut this navbar from here to header components. Save it. I will copy the bookstore header selector and use it in our app component. That's all. Now let's save it and see in the browser. Alright, if you see the element structure or the DOM structure, you will get to know. So we have a bookstore header component which is being displayed in place of the header. Our next task is to create feature modules. Let's create a folder under AppModule, feature. Then under feature, we can create another module named category. So that category module will contain all category related features. ng module feature/category. Alright, so the category module has been created. Now let's create a component, add category, and instead of module, name it component or C. Then press enter. Now here you can see we have this category module, and in this category module we have this add category component. Fine. Now what we can do, we will cut this form part from here to our add category HTML. Save it. Now how we can use that feature module here? We need to bring in our routing stuffs in app component. Whatever page we want to access using routing will be rendered in router outlet, and then in our header we can create a link here using router link, then give the link to category. And in order to use router link in your CoreModule, you have to import router module, then save it. Now we have created a link in the header. Okay, now what is the next task? We have to import category module in our app module. Category module, and then in our app routing we have to create a route for our category. So path category, and component will be add category component. Now let's save it and see it here. Now if I go to category, it is displaying the new book category form. Problem with this architecture is this category module is highly cohesive with this app module. If you simply remove this add category module and try to run the application, it will throw an error that the module is not available. And also, whenever the app is loading, at the same time the category module will be loaded. But we can optimize that. First thing is, you have to create a routing module for your category module. Or when you create a feature module, that time you can pass -- routing from the command line when you are creating that module. So for now I will copy this app routing module and paste it here, and I will name it as category routing module. And I will rename the class name category routing module, and instead of for root it has to be for child. And what else? Now we don't need to give a name here for now. Instead, when I hit domain name /category, it should load the category module and display you the add page. And this path has to be also changed. Fine. Now in our category module we have to import category routing module. Save it, and we have to do some tweaks here also. So now we need to import the category module. Instead we will do lazy loading. So for lazy loading you have to specify this property load children, and here you need to pass the path of the module. So feature /category dot module hash the class name of the module. So category module is the class name. Save it. And one more thing, we don't need to import the category module now, because on the time of bootstrap of the app it will not load the category module. Instead, on demand it will load the module. Now if I go to browser and see the network tab and filter this JS file and click on the category tab, you'll see the module is loaded on demand, meaning when I clicked on the category, only that time that feature module is loaded. This is how we can do lazy loading. Lazy loading is a technique in Angular that allows you to load JavaScript components asynchronously when a specific route is activated. This can add some initial performance during the first load of the application, especially if you have so many components with complex routing. One of the most visible performance problem that user may encounter is the loading time of the application, first loading time. As the code base gets bigger and bigger, the size of the application bundle increases as well. So the bigger the bundle, the longer the time it takes for the first screen. So we recommend to use lazy loading for Angular applications. Now what about shared components or shared module? How do we use it? In this current scenario, I need to display some text like star, then all fields are mandatory. And this type of component I want to show in other modules also. To create this component, we must use a shared module, and that component will be part of that shared module, and we will be importing that component to some specific module. Let's do that. I will create a shared module first. ng module space shared. Our shared module is created, but we don't need to inject into AppModule. It will be imported on demand per feature module. Under this shared module, we have to create a component ng gc components, then required comp or required field. Actually, you need to give this shared /component /your component name. Press enter. It has created required field component. Now if you see here, you can see required field. So what we want to do here is we'll create a class with span text warning, which will show this field is required. Now save it. Now in shared module, you can see this component is declared, but in order to use this component in a different module, you have to export it. So export that component. We also have to write a static function here for root. So static for root to make this shared module available for all feature modules, and it should return ng module as self-reference. And in future, if we add any services, then it may contain providers array. Now we have to import it in our category module. Shared module dot for root. Now this required field component should be available for use. Now I'll copy this selector and I'll go to our add category component and I'll add it here. Let's see in the browser. So in the browser, you can see the component content is being displayed. You can use the same component across different feature modules. Now this is the basic of structuring your Angular application. This structure is quite scalable and maintainable. Okay guys, so that's it for today. If you have any thought or question, please let me know in the comment section, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe the channel. Thank you. Thanks for watching.